Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Nikon, for having me as part of the squad. Really so humbling. Thanks to all of you guys in the audience, and for those of you tuning in on Nikon Live. Really so psyched to be here. I got my start in photography about 20 years ago. I went to Duke University, and it was there that I first discovered that if you had a camera in your hand, you were able to access places that you had no business being in. For me, that was a lot of sporting events. I would go down to the yearbook office, the Chanticleer, and I'm going to date myself, I would take out the Nikon 8008, and I would go to sporting events, all different events around campus. So go to football, go to basketball. Thank you, Christian Leitner. 2 national championships in the 4 years that I was at Duke, which was a pretty awesome time to be around college sports. And not once did I ever have to camp out to get into Cameron Indoor Stadium, all because of that Nikon in my hand. And that was pretty exciting. Thank you, Grant, for those championships. We were at Duke for 4 years together. And I think it was because of that unlimited access and the excitement around college sports that is really where my passion for photography and sports photography specifically got ignited. So 25 years later, I am still very much a Dookie. Sorry, Tamara, I know you're a Carolina girl, but professionally, it is with tireless marketing, building relationships, working really hard, shooting constantly, that I have been hired to photograph some of the biggest names in sports for some of the biggest brands in sports. And that I never take lightly. So honored to be able to do that. So whether it's esports, horse racing, tennis, football, all-stars, Olympians, I am really thankful beyond words to work with amazing clients. This one, United States Tennis Association, portrait of Naomi Osaka right after she had a historic victory over Serena Williams in the 2018 US Open. And clients like the National Basketball Association, who trust me to capture the faces of their industry. Obviously, got to show some Duke love. We got 4 NBA rookies here, all Blue Devils. And whether it's out at the track or in a makeshift studio with the NBA's most valuable player, James Harden, or back of house goofing around with NBA Hall of Famers Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Alonzo Mourning, David Robinson, Dikembe Mutombo. I am so thankful to Nikon for the support that they give me and their tools that make my job so much easier. But while I may be shooting Roger Federer, Kyrie Irving, also a Dookie, gotta keep giving the love, and LeBron James, NBA world champions, shooting professional athletes does not define who I am as a photographer. And more importantly, for each of you out there, you don't need access to world-class athletes to become the sports photographer that you want to be. So today, I want to talk to you about finding your way in the sports industry. There are literally millions of things that you can do to make your way in the sports industry, but I'm going to highlight 5 of them, and I promise you, you don't need a sideline credential. You don't need Olympic athletes to get them done. Number 1, get up early. That is so cliche, but it is so true. The panelists before me have talked about it. There is always something happening, so be the first one there. Someone is shooting, someone is training, someone is lifting. Be there, capture those pictures, tell the story. Nikon has tools to make those low light early mornings so much easier to capture. whether it's high ISO or a little fill flash with your SB5000. You have to be there to get it done. So get up early. Number 2, walk the walk, talk the talk. And if you're not walking yet, crawl the crawl. Just be professional. It is so, so easy to do. Find a mentor. Reach out to people who know more than you do. Email me. Email any of us. Reach out. Ask questions. The tools are available to you. So just walk the walk. And at the very least, everyone can dress like a professional, act like a professional, and work like a professional. So walk the walk. Number 3, challenge yourself to make opportunities to photograph in your own backyard. Obviously not literally your own backyard, but in your neighborhood. There are sporting events everywhere. You don't need to go to the world's most famous arena or the World Series to make amazing pictures. Find something local and keep going back and shoot it. Number 4, another obvious one that so many of us forget about. Take the pictures that you ultimately want to be taking. If your professional goal is to photograph US Open tennis, then take pictures of tennis. It's so silly, but it's so true. Rod Marr said it before, you don't need to be shooting NFL football. If you want to be shooting football, take pictures of Pee Wee football. Take lots and lots and lots of pictures and hone your craft. And number 5 is the most important. No excuses. Nike had it right. Just do it. So you're going to get up early. You're going to walk the walk. You're going to look in your own backyard for opportunities. You're going to take the pictures you want to be taking, and you're going to just do it. To me, that means find a story, any event that piques your interest, and go. Go make pictures. No excuses. Just about every town has a 5K, every city a half marathon, every state a marathon. Go. Start. Take pictures. You likely don't need a credential to go to one of these events, but if you want to practice walking the walk, reach out to the event organizer. Tell them who you are, what you want to do. Chances are they're going to say yes. The worst thing that happens is that they say no, but I don't think they're going to. Go for the day. You're going to come back with pictures. You're a sports photographer. You're likely in your own backyard, and you're making your way. No excuses. And don't think that just because I get don't think that just because I get paid to take pictures, that this is something that I just preach. Because I walk this walk. I reach out to complete strangers all the time, and I say, hey, I think what you're doing is cool. Can I come hang out with you and take pictures? It makes me a better photographer on pretty much every level. So a few weeks ago, it's a Friday, probably 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and I'm scrolling through social media, and I see something about the New York Adventure Racing Association, and they're having an event outside of New York, so not too far from where I live, but I have a shoot on Saturday, and it's a corporate job, and I'm thinking, wow, it would be much more fun to go take pictures at the New York Adventure Racing event. So send the guy an email and say, hey, your event sounds cool. Here's some of my work. Any chance I can come shoot it? No less than 15 minutes later, I get a response. Sure, no problem. Come, take pictures. Our athletes will be there about 5:30 in the morning. They'll spend probably 12 to 14 hours out in the mountains, hiking, biking. Come, take pictures. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to do this? I have a corporate job, and I have this amazing opportunity, but I get it done. I plan that early morning wake up, 4 a.m., the alarm goes off. I got change of clothes to go from hiking to corporate, do that job, leave, go back to hiking, and you just figure it out. You just make pictures. Is this all a bit wacky? 100%. Get up at 4 in the morning, get home at 9 o'clock at night, do 2 jobs in between, change of clothes in the car, eating all my meals in the car? Yes, 100% wacky. Is it ideal? By no means, but find those events that are interesting to you and squeeze them in. Shoot it for a few hours and then go back later. That's what I did. Or go back a few days later if you're doing a local community event. Go. Just take pictures that you want to be taking. You'll catch up on sleep a different day. Use whatever gear you have. It's a tool, and what you do with it is what counts. So just go. Unlike commercial jobs, at these sorts of things, you'll have direct access to the athletes. You're going to have direct access to the action. No one's going to be looking over your shoulder, telling you what you need to take pictures of. Go. Take pictures. I'll be going back. Some amazing, amazing people. Had a fun day, as crazy as it was. Did some portraits, this one on the Z6. And you know what? I didn't need a press pass. No sideline credential. I did get up really early, but I was walking the walk, maybe hiking the hike for some of it. I was not really in my own backyard, but I didn't have to get on an airplane. And I was taking pictures that I wanted to be taking. You guys can all do the same. Nikon gives us these incredible, incredible tools. Find a way to squeeze taking pictures into your day-to-day. Make your kids' sporting event or their team practices your action photography assignment. You definitely aren't going to need a press pass. You likely have to be there anyway. So just take pictures. That's sort of what I did this summer. My stepson Jensen had just graduated from college, and he was setting out on an epic sporting adventure. He started in Santa Monica, California, at the Pacific Ocean, and he was riding his bike across the country to Montauk, New York, and the Atlantic Ocean. And like so many of you, I said, this makes no sense. If I can't be there for every day, it doesn't make sense for me to do it. I don't have a drone. I don't have a 200 to 400, and the doubt creeps in. But I referenced my 5 tips, and I just did it. I tagged along. I took some pictures. We followed step number 1, and this kid got up so early. Nikon, thank you for awesome autofocus, because it was dark. And as crazy as it sounds, Jensen was powering through it like 100 miles a day. And I would drive ahead in a car, and I'd scout out a spot, and I'd pick the spot, and I'd get my gear together, and then I'd go over to the spot, and sure enough, Jensen was riding by. And you can't ask for a take 2 when your kid's out there riding 100 miles a day, but you figure it out. You just do it. And you make some pictures. Was it perfect? No, it's never perfect. None of us can ever say that we've had a perfect shoot. Do I wish that I could have documented every single bit of that trek, not just as a photographer, but as a parent? Absolutely. But whether you're a hobbyist or a professional or somewhere in between, take what you can get and make the most of it. You're going to be taking pictures that you want to be taking. So number 5, just do it. And I promise you, at the very least, you're going to squeeze in some fun. It's always an adventure. You have a camera in your hand, you're going to have an awesome time. Jensen and I went out for lunch in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis's hometown, and it was awesome. And I don't know how, after riding 50 miles so far that day, he did about 30 of these jumps, and had to keep doing them until you got it just right. But I promise you, it will be worth it. Make those own adventures. But again, coming back to it, no special access, no sideline credentials, no PR directors, no drone, no 70. I did have my 70 to 200, but no 200 to 400. Tell the story you want to tell with the pictures that are happening right under your nose. If we stick with number 3 on our list, which I think is finding pictures in your own neighborhood. About 10 years ago, I got involved with Cycle for Survival, which is Memorial Sloan Kettering's national indoor team cycling event to raise money for rare cancer. Cycle for Survival was started by Jennifer Goodman-Lynn, who's pictured here with her husband, David. And they started Cycle for Survival in one small gym in New York City, a spin class to raise money for Jen's rare cancer. The first year I attended the event as a participant, which for all of you photographers out there, you know that that's a rarity to go somewhere without your camera. But the first year I went without my camera, and I just rode. And it was super fun and had a great time, but I quickly realized that I would be much better off if I volunteered my time and photographed for Cycle for Survival. So I got involved, and I started volunteering. It was in my neighborhood, no credentials, no major expectations, but I could shoot, and I could walk the walk. So what started out for me as a way to get involved in something that I was passionate about, and a way to really dive deep into the sports photography world, has become a huge part of who I am as a photographer and as a person. Jen Goodman-Lynn, Cycle for Survival's founder, passed away in 2011. But she left Cycle for Survival to continue the goal of raising money for rare cancer research. And as the charity has grown this year, 2019 rides will kick off in just a couple weeks. There's now, from one small event in New York, there's now 36,000 people that'll be participating this year in 16 cities across the country. And as the charity has grown, so has my involvement. I still volunteer my time and shoot. I've probably shot 40 Cycle for Survival events. I volunteer my time producing all of the events around the country, and I've probably produced 400 events. And I get up early, I do. Number one on that, we get up early for those things. But as a result of my involvement, my action photography is so much better. My production skills are light years better. How I interact with clients is so much better. And my network of photographers from crewing all of these events has grown exponentially. I take every one of those skills from that one small event that started out in New York, and I bring that with me on every other shoot that I do. I take that away, and I apply it to every aspect of the photography industry. And you guys can do the same. From shooting regularly at these events, I'm so much more familiar with my gear. I know that I have my 14 to 24 on my right side, and I have my 70 to 200 on my left side. And I know that I can balance the crazy low ambient light in these places, and I can balance it with the fill flash. And I shoot intuitively, and that makes all the difference in the world. So standing here, I'm going 14-24 on my right side. And I know for this shot, without even thinking about it, up from my left hand is the 70 to 200 with a fill flash. And I know that for my client that thrives on these event-type images, that I can shoot in these amazing gyms, low light, so dramatic at ISO 10,000 and give them a picture that they're going to love. And I know that because of those cameras in my hand that I've been using nonstop. But whether it's an indoor gym for Cycle for Survival, or a sunny baseball field at an event that you want to cover for a nonprofit, you can get involved and work on your action shooting. You can do it. You can find any event and get involved, and you're going to be making your way in sports photography. You have no excuses. Just do it. So whether you're starting out in the industry or you have years under your belt as a seasoned veteran, today, I leave you with this challenge. That thing that you've driven by 100 times and say, I'll shoot it next time, I'll shoot it next time. Go, shoot it, take pictures. And for your niece at their travel lacrosse team, assign yourself that as your assignment. Be the team photographer. Go, take pictures. Walk the walk. And that charity run that you always run in, reach out to them. Say, hey, I want to take pictures for you. And get involved. I promise you, you will be better for it. Your action photography will be better. You'll gain invaluable experience in the photo industry. You'll likely have a pretty good time. You'll meet amazing people. And you'll be on the way to being the sports photographer that you know you can be. Thank you. If you guys, thank you. If you guys stick around, it's just going to be a couple minutes before we jump right into next presentation.
Yes, Jen, you are right. We're going to roll right into Mr. Keith Ledzinski, National Geographic photographer and filmmaker. Will be coming up in just a second.